I'm delighted to be joined by Kathryn Neilson, Director of the MNTB. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So just a couple of questions, just obviously people looking for careers. Can you tell us a little bit about the Merchant Navy Training Board and what it does?
Yeah. So the Merchant Navy Training Board is an organisation that's been around since, in fact, its 80th anniversary this year. And we've been around predominantly to manage training standards for seafarers doing training in the UK. And we have set up a small board of about 24 people made up of educationalists, unions as RMT and Nautilus, and a small group of shipping companies. And we come together as industry professionals to set training standards so that all our seafarers who train in the UK get the best training possible.
So how does the MNTB liaise with government and the industry in order to engage young people who may be interested in a career at sea or may not know anything about a career at sea?
Good question, because it's a huge challenge. There are so many young people who have never heard of maritime careers, who are not familiar. In fact, actually, I was talking to a small group of young training officers today, and nearly every single one of them knew someone in the industry, which has influenced their decision to come into maritime, which is really unusual. So what we've tried to do is introduce the Royal Navy and the Merchant Navy differences so that they don't get confused. That's step one. And the second thing is we are doing a massive promotion of careers in maritime nationwide. Now, it's all about money. It's all about investing money in promoting careers in maritime. And there's always a struggle to get people to buy into this, but I think everybody's realised how important it is to have young people coming into the industry because numbers are dropping. Okay, COVID has had a lot to do with it, but we are very, very keen to raise the profile of maritime with schools and particularly secondary schools when they're looking at choosing their options. So we try to get in sort of age 12 to 13 and speak to careers advisors.
Obviously things are changing quite quickly across the world. So what do you think the future skills and the future needs are for the marine industry?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Simon. One of the biggest challenges is making sure that the students who come to train in the UK, young UK cadets, they have the skills necessary to compete in a global market, because it's a global market. And it's one of the benefits of having the MNTB is we work very closely with the shipping companies, because the MNTB is part of the UK Chamber of Shipping. And we have many conversations on a regular basis with those shipping companies who basically have told us the skills they need to be able to employ those students when they're qualified. And, you know, the soft skills, the transferable skills are the most important thing. So, you know, being able to communicate and manage a team of people, critical thinking, all those soft skills, I call them meta skills, are absolutely key, and they can be developed at any stage of your education. And many of the shipping companies are looking at how the environment impacts the operation of a ship, and young people coming into businesses now have to be aware of the impact of the environment on a business, and having some form of business acumen is something that businesses are looking for and shipping companies are looking for. So it's having a very good rounded qualification, and of course, you know, the COC is a great foundation on which to start in the industry, and we're looking at all sorts of career routes and career paths into the industry and throughout the industry to give people a choice of where they end up, whether they want to go to sea, whether they want to do ports and logistics, whether they want to do law or shipping insurance. You know, it's about us giving those students a good route into the industry and a clear career path to encourage them to apply.
Well, excellent. I know you've had a successful career in the maritime industry, and I just want you to go back to when you started. So if you could, what advice would you give to young women and girls who want to pursue a career in the maritime industry?
I think one of the hardest challenges is not to be put off, because, you know, it's a male-dominated industry, and for me, it's been a huge challenge to get people to take me seriously. But now we're seeing definitely a change in culture, and it takes a while. It's never going to happen overnight. And I think the issue with young women is, first of all, they don't realise that there is a career for women because it's so heavily male orientated. So it's about encouraging them and showing them what's possible, because they can do anything. You know, they can be an engineer, they can be an ETO, they can be a deck officer. There are so many options for them there. And one of the things that young women always say to me when I speak to them if they've not been in maritime is, okay, that's great, I'd love to be an officer on board a ship, but what do I do if I want to have a family? I'm going to have to get off the ship straight away. And that's one of the biggest challenges for us, you know, and it doesn't just affect women, you know, men also want to spend time with their families. So how do we then build in a great career package that will support those women who want to have a career at sea and those men that want to stay at sea? That's the challenge. So we're working very closely with industry to, you know, look at employment contracts, to, you know, make things a little bit more flexible, because what we don't want to do is train up this fantastic talent and then suddenly lose it because there is no option for them to stay on board. So lots of work going on in the industry to establish that and to make sure that people have a choice.
Thanks very much for your comments. That's a few short questions. I'm sure they'll be of benefit to our students. So thank you very much, Kathryn.
You're welcome.